What are we demanding?
Bring back our girls now and alive!
What are we demanding?
Back our girls now and alive!
What's our singularity of purpose?
Bring back our girls now and alive!
When the girls were abducted, it was something that really struck me, and I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I remember like 2 days after their abduction, when the Defense Army had come out to say that they were rescued, it was such a relief for me. In fact, my brother early in the morning called me from Lagos to say that your girls have been rescued. And of course, 24 hours later, there was news that there was no such rescue. And I felt very concerned, and I just could not keep quiet.
When the girls were abducted on the 14th of April, and the news came out by the 15th of April, I started a Twitter campaign on the matter of the rescue for the girls. At different times, I kept tweeting and asking that they should be sought for and rescued. You know, not much happened, other than the fact that 2 days after the news came out, on the 17th, the military gave information that they had rescued everybody except 8 people. And I was excited, but it turned out not to have been true. And so I carried on campaigning for the girls.
I'm a father, I have a daughter, and there's a spiritual and celestial injunction either in the Quran or in the Bible that love thy neighbor as thyself. And it could have been anybody's child, it could have been anybody's niece, it could have been anybody's daughter.
I was approached by a colleague, Mariam Wes, who is one of the co-founders of the Bring Back Our Girls Abuja family. And she was like, we have been tweeting, we have been on the I haven't heard your voice. I say, yeah, it's because I'm watching. I am wary of a situation where we all speak on the cyber, and then when I ask people to come to the streets, they don't come. She said, no, we are going to come to the streets. And that's how I came.
The moment this happened, I knew if there wasn't a quick closure, whatever was being done to fight it, to ensure the girls were rescued, I'll be part of it. And so eventually, yes, I became part of the movement because of the genuineness of the advocacy, and also because it is critical for us as Nigerians not to lose our humanity. As it is now, we are losing our humanity. In fact, we've lost our humanity.
I joined the protest like several other people did, came out on the first day. And then we returned back to the Unity Fountain, and then we said we weren't going to stop. We should at least still come back the next day to know what we are going to do next. So somehow, next day, and now we are talking about almost 150 days of sitting.
It's just natural that when something happens, something like that happens, and there is a lot of silence, people like myself like to, ginger everybody to say, look, guys, we need to speak out, we need to talk, we need to step out, protest or something. And Obviously, Kosili aroused everyone's interest in the issue when she presented at this book festival in Port Harcourt. And the tweets came out, and Bring Back Our Girls, and eventually it became a physical advocacy. People were stepping out on streets across the world, and some of those have, they continue to be maintained even as we speak.
A friend of mine in the gym, the morning of the protest, told me that there was going to be a protest. I was like, are the girls not back? I thought they were back. She was like, no. Okay, so I decided to join. I asked for the dress code. She said it's red and black. I didn't have any red. Went to the market, got some, and I joined. And ever since, that has been it.
Normally, anything like this that comes up that concerns society, I like to discuss it because I feel it is a part and parcel of me. I learned some people are beginning to convene, to advocate for the government to do what is rightful, to bring them back. And without asking anybody, I just said I'll just bump the location.
So we were not invited. We took ourselves there because we felt, wow, an opportunity has presented itself for us to speak. An opportunity has presented itself for us to use our voices and speak for those who are voiceless and speak for those who are defenseless.
When this thing happened, those who took a contrary opinion and said, rescue these girls, were seen as opposition people or as being sponsored by the opposition. In other words, they want to bring down the government. This is the perception that is still existing up to now, and this is what has also affected the attitude to the rescue.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame because I cannot imagine that the government will think that we will be fighting them. Who are we to fight them? We're just individuals. No law enforcement agency behind us. No, nothing behind us. We just want the right thing done. We want to be secure. Government has gone, they have sworn to protect us. And now we say protect us, and they say we're opposition. It's so ridiculous.
I want to state unequivocally that the BBOG is not against the person of Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan or against the government. No! And the BBOG is not political. It has nothing to do with the APC, it has nothing to do with the PDP. It's all about humanity.
It's quite unfortunate that in Nigeria, if you speak up against something that should be done, the government calls you opposition, but that's fine. If they say we're sponsored, that's also fine. So get the girls back so that we can go back home. Yeah? Bring Back Our Girls are just a group of concerned Nigerians demanding of their rights.
The government had continuously maintained the position that Bring Back Our Girls is challenging them. The narrative that had come from the government is about us questioning it, but they need to appreciate that within the context of democracy, citizens need to question and challenge the, for governance, for accountability. This is within the context of our social contract with the government. We cannot in any way discuss or embark upon any engagement with Boko Haram because we do not know Boko Haram. We elected the government. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He is the person that is accountable for the lives of...
The way that I look at it, I expected that the government was going to see this group as a citizens group, basically empowering the government to really forcefully assert itself against our common enemy, the terrorists. You know, if I were sitting in government and viewing a citizens group acting like this, that's exactly the way I would have looked at it. I would have said, the voice of these citizens basically giving me even greater legitimacy to really put my best effort at going after these rascals. You know, people only say our sit-out. What they did not even realize was that how we had reached out in utmost good faith to all the entities that were important.
Personally, I think there is a presence of government in Nigeria because when the government perceived wrongly that BBOG is a group that is challenging them, even though we feel we're advocating for the right thing. I saw the presence of government here because I saw thugs hired to stop us from doing what we're doing, including Nigerian police, sometimes even with so many other people in mufti, in disguise to see what we're doing, thinking we are being sponsored.
If the government is responsible, it will be disappointed in itself.
How do you fathom the fact that 219 girls, as of that time when we started, they were a little bit more than that, were still with the abductors, and they will be left with the abductors for 210 days as it is today. But I never thought of that because I had so much belief in my government, and I felt my government was going to do the right thing and make sure that these girls are rescued, put everything on board to make sure that the girls are rescued.
And if our leaders can just go on as if nothing has happened, then I feel sorry for us as a people. Then we have lost all sense of humanity. We have lost all consciousness.
The advocacy has been working with other people to ensure that once the girls are rescued, that the trauma they have gone through there will be a rehabilitation. Let me just put it that way, the rehabilitation for the girls. But
we have worked on a reintegration plan such that we implement it when these girls return. The good thing is one girl has returned. So we have at least one example to try out that plan. But hey, our plan has been subdued by another bigger plan because we are told that the government has done a fantastic job trying to develop a reintegration plan. As a matter of fact, they have developed a reintegration plan.
We've been developing some beautiful programs on how to rehabilitate them, but basically the broader rehabilitation has to come from the government, like the rescue effort we've been advocating.
We don't have the capacity to do that, but we will be there as the voice that will ensure that everyone, every entity that has the capacity to do that, that they would collaborate effectively and that they would help rehabilitate, resettle, reintegrate our daughters as much as possible. Now, I have said it, that if Malala could become great, our girls can become greater.
If they never do, I don't want to consider the option. I mean, I don't like to pretend about realities. It's an option that is there, but I don't have to consider it, do I?
We're optimistic. We don't think of that at all. We're very, very optimistic. We're a people of hope, in as much as hope has left most of us in Nigeria today.
You know, it's a reality I have refused to play. That reality exists, but it's a reality I have continuously refused to play.
God forbid, Bathing, and may you never see the light of day with that statement again. We want every Nigerian to remain optimistic. But let me tell you, there's a reality note. Much as we are hopeful that all 219 remaining girls are alive, we are not unaware of the possibility that some might have died.
It will be a blow to this country if these girls never come back.
I am never pessimistic. They will be rescued, only that sometimes when a lot goes out of you, you're not likely to recover all, you know.
We continue to agitate for their return. No retreat, no surrender.
I refuse to even consider that thought. I remain hopeful. That's why the Bring Back Our Girls movements have been meeting every day, in spite of the lies, in spite of the delays, in spite of the number of days, in spite of the attacks. We honestly cannot afford to think otherwise. They have to be back.
I don't want to think that they'll never come back at all. I don't want that. Even if that thought comes, something blocks it, because we need to keep that hope. Is just so important for me. Otherwise, you know, the despair will be just too much. It will overwhelm me.
I don't have the fears that the girls might never return, but the only pain that I have that it might take so long, because I know whether it's now. For me, I've decided this fight, even if it takes the next 20 years of my life, I'm going to give it this fight. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next year, but I will keep going till each one of them was brought back.
I don't know how any one of those parents would feel if some of the girls returned and their own didn't. So I am just holding faith out and hope out for all of them, that they would all be rescued. I do sometimes feel they're going to come back in really bad shape. Because even if these guys didn't touch them at all, just the trauma, the fear that they stayed with every day for 190, today 96 days, 196 days, would be sufficient to just make a young woman go off, you know? So when I think those thoughts though, I then say to myself, but they will survive.
Because they deserve the right to live. It's taking too long already. That they are not back. It's taking too long. We've lost time.
It's difficult for me to even see the light at the end of the tunnel, because sometimes they say they've seen them and then we realize that they are not back. Even if I don't get to see them when they return, I want to imagine the joy of a mother that would behold a child again. And let that imagination give me the joy. I can't explain what it will be.